On our 10-year anniversary, my husband took me to the same restaurant where he proposed. Halfway through dinner, he kept smiling at someone behind me. I turned around and froze. It was his work friend. She blew him a kiss. He laughed and said, "Relax. You're being paranoid again." That night, I checked his email. He'd booked a second room for her. I swapped the room numbers, left her a note that said, "He rehearsed this speech with me first." When he got there, she was gone. He came back to find all his bags packed. "Happy anniversary," I said. "Here's your freedom. 10 years of marriage. 10 years of building a life with someone I thought I knew. 10 years of pushing through the fights, paying the bills, raising our daughter, cleaning up his messes, laughing at his stupid jokes, and pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. But I still held on. I still thought maybe we could fix it." That night told me everything I needed to know. It was our anniversary. 10 years exactly. Greg made reservations at the Grovewood Inn, same place where he proposed back in 2015. It used to be a special place. He got down on one knee between the wine list and dessert and asked me to be his forever. I said yes with tears in my eyes. We hadn't been back there since. He acted like it was supposed to be romantic, nostalgic. I played along. Wore the same green dress I wore that night. Took my time curling my hair, putting on perfume he used to love. I didn't feel excited. I felt uneasy. But I kept telling myself, maybe this is a turning point. I met him in the lobby. He looked good, better than he had in a while. Hair freshly cut, new button-down shirt. He smiled when he saw me, but it wasn't the kind of smile that warmed you. It was polite. Forced. We walked to the restaurant. He didn't say much. I filled the silence with small talk, but he barely responded. At first, I figured he was nervous. Maybe he had a surprise planned. Maybe this was going to be the night he actually opened up again. The hostess sat us in the corner. It was quiet, low light, cozy. I smiled at the memory. This was the same table. The exact same one where he proposed. Then it started. Greg kept looking behind me. Not glancing. Full-on staring. Every few minutes, his eyes would light up, like he saw something funny or sweet. And then he smiled. I turned around. There was a woman sitting 2 tables back. Alone. Blonde hair, curled. Red lipstick, too much bronzer. She wore a tight black dress and heels too high for dinner. Her face lit up when our eyes met. Then she winked and blew him a kiss. I froze. Looked back at Greg. His face said everything. He laughed like it was no big deal. "Relax," he said. "You're being paranoid again." Again. That word stabbed me. Like he'd had to say it before. Like I'd imagined things in the past and needed reminding. He turned back to his food like nothing happened. I didn't eat much after that. I was numb. I looked at him and felt nothing. No love. No hate. Just a cold, sick feeling that settled deep in my gut. We walked back to the hotel in silence. He pretended everything was normal. Made a comment about the wine, something about dessert. I don't even remember. Once we got to our room, he went straight to the bathroom. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the wall. Then I saw his laptop on the desk. Greg was lazy about passwords. Always had been. Still used the same one, Pearl Jam 94. I opened it. And there it was. Gmail. He left it open. I saw the reservation confirmation right away. Subject line. Your stay at Grovewood Inn. Room confirmation. 2 rooms. One under his name. One under his work friend's name. She was staying down the hall. Room 319. There was even a note attached to hers. Chocolate strawberries and Prosecco by 9 p.m. He thought he was slick. He really believed he could take me out for our anniversary, act like the good husband, then sneak down the hall and sleep with her like it was just another business trip. My hands shook, but I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I got dressed, left the room, and walked straight to the front desk. The woman working the night shift looked bored. I told her I needed to switch rooms. Said my husband had a bad snoring problem, and I wasn't sleeping well. She barely blinked. Typed away, nodded, and said, "Sure, I'll put you in 319 instead. That was all I needed. I went back upstairs, sat on the edge of the bed again, and wrote a note. Just a few words on the hotel notepad. He rehearsed this speech with me first. I folded it and slipped it under the door of room 319 while Greg was still in the shower. Then I went back, lay down, and pretended to sleep. She was gone by 5:30 a.m. Greg didn't even notice at first. He went to get coffee while I packed his suitcase. When he walked back in, he saw it all, his clothes, toiletries, laptop, everything packed and waiting by the door. He looked confused. What's going on? I handed him his suitcase and smiled. Just a little. Happy anniversary, I said. Here's your freedom. He didn't move, didn't speak, just stared like he couldn't believe it. I didn't wait for a reaction. I walked out, got in the car, and drove home. I didn't go home right away. I drove around Asheville until the sun came up. Parked in a quiet corner of a grocery store lot, and just sat there. My phone buzzed nonstop, calls from Greg, a few texts too. Where are you? Can we talk? You're blowing this way out of proportion. I didn't answer any of them. At 7:15 a.m., he left a voicemail. Okay, you made your point. I get it. But don't make this worse. You're acting out of emotion, not logic. We can work through this, Jess. Don't throw everything away. He still thought I wanted him. Still thought I'd forgive this like I'd forgiven the lies, the cold shoulders, the late nights at work. Like I was too weak to walk away for good. I drove home around 8. My daughter, Carly, was still at my sister's house for the weekend. I had the house to myself. That quiet should have felt peaceful, but it didn't. It felt like standing in a house that had already burned down. I walked straight to the bedroom and started emptying his drawers. Every sock, every shirt, every cologne bottle. I bagged it all up and carried it out to the garage. His office stuff, too, laptop charger, notebooks, his ugly framed college diploma. That's when I found something that nearly knocked me down. A second phone, hidden in his desk drawer under a stack of tax documents. I charged it. Waited. No password. Just opened up like a trapdoor. That's where I saw everything. Photos. Texts. Voice memos. He wasn't just having an affair with her. He was sleeping with 2 other women too. One of them was a former intern he used to mentor. The other was someone he met at a tech conference in Denver. There were voice notes where he called her babe and told her I was clingy and always suspicious for no reason. There was a text from the work friend that said, "You think she'll actually divorce you, or just keep being your doormat?" I stared at that message for a long time. My hands were shaking so bad, I had to sit down. That was the moment I stopped crying. I stopped feeling anything close to sadness. It all turned into something cold, steady, focused. I took the phone and screen recorded everything. Then I sent it all to my personal email. I forwarded the worst stuff to myself, texts, photos, all of it. Then I wiped the phone and tossed it in the trash bin out back. At noon, Greg came home. He stood in the doorway holding a small bouquet of roses and a coffee. "Hey," he said like nothing had happened. Like this was just a fight to smooth over. I didn't say a word. I just turned my laptop around and hit play on the recording of the messages. His voice calling another woman baby girl, complaining about how I wouldn't let him breathe without checking his GPS. His face went white, then red. "Where did you get that?" "You left your second life in your desk drawer," I said. He dropped the flowers. "Jess, listen. That's not what you think." "Really? Because it looks like you've been cheating on me for years. Not just with her, but with anyone who smiled at you long enough." He started to talk again, but I held up a finger. "No more talking. You've got 1 hour to get your things. You don't live here anymore." He tried to argue, but I'd already changed the locks earlier that morning. My brother-in-law was coming with a truck to help dump his stuff on the curb if needed. And then something else happened. Carly walked in. She wasn't supposed to be back until the next day, but my sister dropped her off early. She saw the bags, the tension, Greg's red face. She was only 8, but she knew something was wrong. "Mom," she asked, "why is Dad crying?" Greg looked at me, desperate. Like I'd say something to save him in front of our daughter. I crouched down and said, "Your dad did something really hurtful. And he's not going to live here anymore." She looked confused.
Scared.
I hugged her tight, tears finally spilling down my face. Greg stood there for another minute, then left without another word. But I wasn't done. I was just getting started. I thought kicking him out would bring peace. It didn't. The house felt colder. Not because he was gone, because now I had to face everything he'd broken. Not just in our marriage, but in me. The days after were quiet. Too quiet. Greg texted every day. At first it was begging. "Please talk to me. Let's figure this out." Then it turned to guilt. "You're hurting Carly. This is still your fault too, you know." Eventually it got mean. "You'll be alone forever. No one else would put up with you." I blocked him. On everything. But then I got a message from an unknown number. It was her. The work friend. "Just so you know, he told me you were sick. That you had mental health problems. That you imagined things. He said he stayed married for your daughter." She sent it like she thought I'd believe her. Like she wasn't part of the lie. Like she wanted to be the victim now. I didn't answer her either. But I kept that message. I kept everything. Because I had a plan. Greg worked at a mid-sized tech company in Asheville. Not big enough to have serious PR protection, but big enough that he was known in his industry. Especially in the regional startup scene. One of the women he'd been cheating with, the one from the Denver conference, was on LinkedIn. I looked her up. Then I looked deeper. She wasn't just anyone. She was a speaker. A panelist at tech events. She'd even been in a few industry write-ups for diversity in tech leadership. So I sent her a message. I didn't accuse her. I didn't threaten. I just said, "Hi. I think you should know that the man you've been involved with has a wife, a child, and at least 2 other women. Here are screenshots. I've redacted your name. I'm not out to ruin your life. But I thought you deserved the truth, since none of us had it." She replied 2 days later. "Thank you. I had no idea. I'm sorry." I never heard from her again. But a week later, I heard from someone else. A former coworker of Greg's. She'd been quiet on social media for years, but she reached out with one sentence. "You're not the first wife he's lied to. You're just the first one who exposed him." That's when it hit me. Greg had done this before. Not just cheating. Everything. The manipulation. The gaslighting. The grooming. He didn't become this man. He was this man all along. So I took the story public. Not with names. Not with faces. Just a Reddit post. An anonymous one. Titled, "On our 10-year anniversary, I found out my husband booked a second hotel room for his mistress." I wrote every detail. The dinner. The kiss. The note I left. The second phone. The screenshots. Everything. It blew up. Hundreds of comments. Thousands of upvotes. People asking if he was from their city, their company, their past. A few days later, I got an email from someone who worked with Greg at a job in Atlanta 6 years ago. She said he'd left suddenly after HR issues, but no one ever explained why. She sent me a screenshot of a company memo that said he had violated internal ethical boundaries. It all made sense now. I wasn't married to a cheater. I was married to a predator. I printed everything. The emails. The texts. The screenshots. Even the Reddit post. I put it all into a manila folder and mailed it to Greg's boss. Certified. Signature required. No return address. 2 weeks later, Greg was fired. They said it was for violating the company's personal conduct policy. I heard from another employee that HR had done an internal review after someone sent outside materials. His name was quietly taken off their website. His LinkedIn went private a few days later. The big shot tech consultant image?
Gone.
He moved in with his brother across town. Word got around fast, people noticed. His reputation, his speaking gigs, the startup mentorship program he led dried up. One by one. But it didn't stop there. The work friend. Her name was Valerie. I guess she found out about more than she wanted. She messaged me again. This time, she sounded shaken. He told me you were violent, that you once threatened him. I believed him. I really thought you were crazy. I didn't respond, but I watched as she deleted all her posts with him, changed her profile picture, then deleted her account. A month passed. Then one morning, Carly's school called me. Greg had shown up to try and take her out of class, without telling me, without being on the approved list. That's when I made my final move. I got a lawyer, filed for full custody. I gave the court everything: proof of infidelity, manipulation, harassment, the school incident, his past HR violations, even statements from 2 women he'd lied to. I told them Greg could have visitation, but only under supervision. I didn't trust him anymore, not with our daughter, not with anyone. He fought it, showed up to court looking like a shell, told the judge I was turning Carly against him. He cried on the stand, said I was ruining his life out of spite. The judge asked if he'd ever threatened me. I showed them the texts. Greg's lawyer didn't have much to say after that. I got full custody, supervised visits, no overnights, no solo time, just monitored hours at a family center with cameras in every room. And even then, he missed most of those. He started drinking more, got picked up for a DUI 2 months later, lost his license, had to move in with his parents in Florida. I heard through the grapevine he was working at a car rental place now, doing inventory, making half of what he used to. But here's the thing, I didn't do this because I hated him. I did it because for 10 years, I let him take pieces of me. One small lie at a time. One gaslight. One ignored red flag. One night out too late. I gave him chances. I forgave more than I should have. I looked the other way when my gut screamed at me not to. I played the role of understanding wife, while he rehearsed love speeches for other women in hotel rooms he booked with our anniversary date in mind. I wasn't perfect either. I stayed too long. I taught him how to treat me by accepting less every year. I didn't leave when I should have. I let myself believe a man like him could change. But in the end, I found myself again. And I made sure he lost everything he tried to hide behind. The best part? Carly is safe. She's growing up knowing that when someone disrespects you, lies to you, and breaks trust, you don't stay quiet. You burn the whole damn script and hand them their lines back, typed up, stapled, and stamped, return to sender.